Could a black man be elected in the United States?
Should we care?
I find most American politics, even the Democrats, a bit too right-wing for me.
Should we really care what they think? Our separate worlds are so different.
I suppose I don't care about the election as such, but the outcome, I think, will have big implications for the whole world.
Especially if Americans can break, can go against the UN and, I don't know, attack various countries around the world if they feel like it.
It's not surprising that there is great interest in the American presidential election campaign, because who is the President of the United States of America matters to the whole of the world.
We want to make a safe world for everybody, not just for here, I mean for the whole nation.
An event in one country affects other countries, and there are global issues that can't be solved at a national level, such as climate change.
Middle-class people in Britain are wasting their time recycling their little bits of paper and milk cartons if Americans have their big Hummers, is that what they're called?
I'm surprised by how much people over here are really following it.
I know people in the United States, relatives, who think, who cares what the rest of the world thinks about the United States? You know, who cares? We'll just throw our weight around.
Politics stirs our world into a blend where everyone is affected. The 2008 U.S. election impacted everyone on the planet. Despite the fact Americans look off their shores and see nothing in the distance, the isolation is both comforting and threatening.
We think that we're untouchable, but we're very much not. And I think that makes us naive and willing to act in our own best interest, which makes us not as good as we could be.
The United States has to make sure that it has friends and allies out there. And there's no guarantee that in 70 or 80 years from now, the United States will be the most powerful country in the world. You know, there's no guarantee of it.
We look in America as like our leader, you know. We like the idea, we like the things they do.
We could be a leader, but we don't need to run over everyone. We don't need to bulldoze them.
The rest of the world needs to care about this election. I mean, you know, as much as you would see that either they dislike America or they like America or what they think we're bullies, they think that we're great. You know, just look at France. They went from absolutely hating us to having a leader that now they're like, hey, you know, y'all aren't so bad. Yeah, they have to watch and they have to look at us, because the fact is that if our markets get bad, their markets get bad. So I think that this is a big deal. Now, you don't see where the other markets get bad and then ours falls. It's always ours as a leader. So yeah, they need to be interested and involved, and I would hope that they take more of an interest.
They're going to do it. They're going to do it because they're living and breathing and they hate us and they want to kill us.
I think we need to be careful of that word terrorism. I think there's different types of terrorism, and we shouldn't perhaps brand different types of global terrorism under the one umbrella term.
We're wasting time. The more time we give them, the more chance they have of building more and more bombs to take us out.
You know, the United States doesn't have a history of these types of attacks, and it just surprised and shocked Americans that something like this could happen in the United States.
Maybe we need to remove that reactionary culture, and I think having these strict borders just produces more reactionary culture.
It's so easy to get in this country, it's not funny. So we have no security. You know, the border, sure, they're cracking down. I'm not going to mock them. They're cracking down on how to get a passport, how to get in the country. If they won't even let planes land if certain people are on them. So they stop them from getting on now.
One thing I really hate about America is when I enter the country and I have to go through this tireless process of questions before they stamp my passport. Stuff like, what are you doing here and why would you want to visit our country, and what are you going to visit, and can you give me some examples of tourist sites you're going to see? Do you have a guidebook in your bag? I went twice in 1 year, and they were very suspicious that I had 2 stamps on my passport from the States. And my brother visited 3 times in 1 year, and he got brought into a little room and was interviewed. Which is ridiculous, I think.
Whereas I've heard people say here in Europe You know, the Spaniards and here in the United Kingdom, you know, they live with terrorism for a long time. You know, the Troubles in Northern Ireland, there's been bombings going on. You know, this is something that people in Europe have had to deal with and live with for a very long time.
It's almost scary what we're going to live through this year and the next few years. But I think in a world view, the American election for president is what they're probably going to key off of.
If you don't have national security, you don't have anything else. If we have another 9/11, they think the markets are bad now. They don't know what it could be, because the next 9/11 will probably be worse than the first one.
Here's what's going to happen. We get hit with a new president and they take out a major American city or 2 or 3. They're going to declare war. But it's going to be too late for all those people that got blown away.
I think maybe we need to move away from that culture to try and solve the problem of terrorism. Because if you start to treat people differently, they're going to act in the way that you see them, hence produce more terrorism.
You get a new guy in there, you know, if it's not McCain, Obama, that poor guy is going to be tested like you wouldn't believe if he gets in there. And he better make the right decisions, and if he doesn't, it might be too late. Because we could be that close to anarchy.
I don't like Obama. I don't care for him. He's against people owning guns and taking my rights, and I don't believe in that, you know.
I've been married to a woman for 43 years. She's a wonderful parochial girl, prays, goes to church. She's a great woman. She wants a gun because she's fearful for the election. I'm serious. I have never, ever in my life ever seen anything like this. It's just exactly what you're talking about. She's really scared that we could have this crazy, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going, dear God, please don't ever happen like that.
Colin Powell just said that he thinks Obama can handle national security as well as John McCain can. In response to that, Joe Biden came out today and said that he's almost convinced that there will be an attack. The world will test President Obama. So quite frankly, I think I'm going to trust Joe Biden more than I'm going to trust Colin Powell on this one.
I mean, it's pretty bad when your number 2 man that is running on your ticket is saying, you know, within the first 6 months of, you know, of an Obama presidency or an Obama term, we're going to be tried. You know, the rest of the world's going to try us. Why? Why is this the case? Maybe Obama needs to ask himself that.
I'm afraid of more of the same. Waking up and finding out that Bush just got elected again.
Well, and that's McCain.
That's it.
McCain equals Bush. I'm sorry. They can turn it any way they want, but McCain equals Bush. He voted for him 95% of the time. He has the same lobbyists in his pocket. It's more of the same would be frightening.
Pretty terrifying. To that.